Yo, what's happening, everybody? It's your boy, Earth Mac, the Mad Scientist, and welcome to the Orange Phoenix Show live nerd talk. And I hope you guys had a nice, awesome hump day on this Hump Day Wednesday. I know there's a lot of things that's been going on in the geekdom world. There's a lot of rumors circling around, and I'm gonna try my best to actually debunk some of the stuff, you know what I mean? Some of the fluff, if you will, because there's a lot of talk about what's going on in the DC world, especially with the most recent movie of Shazam being out right now. Now, if the music's too loud, just let me know. Right, trying to get new to this live thing, especially on YouTube. It's not like all audio, so you got to make sure all the video and stuff right, all the sound and everything right, to the right levels and everything. So just let me know in the comments, whether I want to amp up the music or should I down the music just a little bit. Just let me know. But yeah, I hope you guys had an awesome Hump Day Wednesday. Like I said, if you really do like the show and you want to look at our previous shows, like Silverheart Cosplay and Crooklyn 08, and tomorrow we actually going to be releasing a new episode featuring Travis Martin on the Orange Phoenix Show. Go to our playlist. Go to our playlist labeled Orange Phoenix Show, and you get to see all of our past shows that aired on YouTube. Of course, we got our shorts, we got our clips and everything else, so you can actually look at that. So like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We talk about everything of geek culture, whether it's anime, manga, pro wrestling, video games, you name it, we nerd it. And speaking of manga or manhwa, there's a webtoon, Solo Leveling, that is coming out next winter. There's been some talk, man. I'm gonna tell you right now. I just had a guest on the show, goes by the name of Genevieve. You would definitely see that aired next week. She did mention something around the realms of Solo Leveling. I feel like Netflix should have picked it up, because I feel like that could be a whole nother avenue Netflix could pick up besides Crunchyroll. And I know they're trying to dip their toe, well, they are dipping their toes in the anime realm. And I feel like Solo Leveling would have launched that thing to the stratosphere, because everybody and their mom reads Solo Leveling. And I mean, it just really took, the world by storm, and people have been asking for a anime adaptation. And we are getting an anime adaptation, but it's not on Netflix, it's on Crunchyroll. Crunchyroll snatched that. They were like, nah, let me get that. Let me get that from you, Playboy. I got you. The thing is, Solo Leveling is coming out next winter. It's coming out next winter, and we're going to have to wait. I don't like waiting, but we definitely going to have to wait. And that really does suck. That really does suck. I don't like waiting like that. I mean, you could have just kept that, dude. You could have just waited like 2024. You could have just waited till like maybe spring 2024 to say, hey, this winter, we're going to release Solo Leveling. Don't tell us early in 2023, next winter, we're going to give you Solo Leveling. Because if I don't recall, now I'm going to check my seasons. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, Geek Corner. It's spring right now, right? You can't say this winter. So I'm thinking next winter, like 2024. If we got to wait till 2024 for Solo Leveling, you better give us 24 or more episodes. You better give us that. Do not give us 12 episodes and you're going to have to wait a year or a year and a half or maybe 2 years for another season of Solo Leveling. We can't accept that. Either give us 24 episodes or give us continuous episodes. Kind of like how Black Clover was for a period. One Piece was for a period. I mean, I know One Piece is going on hiatus and all that stuff, but I will say, give us continuous episodes, man. Don't give us these short seasons, man. Don't give us 12 episodes. I'm like, guess what, kids? You got to wait. Nah, we don't want that. We don't want that, none whatsoever. All right, you feel me? That's a long wait. But you know what? As far as anime is concerned, I do have some anime recommendations. There's High Card. I do recommend High Card for you guys to watch. It's on Crunchyroll. It is a little gem. Revengers. I actually came back and revisited Revengers. The first episode didn't really catch me, but the second episode really kind of got my attention. And now I'm going back and I'm reverting back to looking at some anime that I kind of like put on the shelf a little bit because I want to binge watch it. I know Blue Lock is coming to an end as far as the season is concerned, so I can actually binge watch that. After watching Blue Lock, I got hooked on it to the point where I can't wait till next week for another episode. So for me to satisfy my palate, I'm gonna have to binge watch it in all of its splendor. So that's what I got to do. So I do see some people in the live chat. Go ahead and comment in the below. If you got any questions as far as nerdom or geekdom, go ahead and ask those questions, and we can have a discussion. This is Nerd Talk. This is live Nerd Talk. But as far as Blue Lock is concerned, I'm definitely going to look into that. Now, Dragon Quest, I know it's finished. Now, right now, I'm in the middle of binge watching that. Now, there is another anime that's out there. It's not new. It's from a few years ago, but it is on Funimation, and it is on Crunchyroll. It's called Speedgrapher, and it's pretty wild, man. It's pretty dark. I mean, imagine there's this guy. He's a photographer, and he get this ability of anything he takes pictures of, it pretty much kills. Like, I mean, it got kill shots. So if he gives you a headshot, your head is coming straight off, like it's exploding. Or if he takes a picture of your shoulder, zoom in on your shoulder, you're gonna catch a shot to the shoulder. So it's almost like his camera, his passion, because he loves taking pictures, is his weapon. And that's barely scratching the surface. You got to look at how he got his abilities, and there are other people with different abilities other than him. So just keep that in mind. Speedgrapher, go ahead and check that out. Record of Ragnarok, the second season is out right now. I will say that this season is better than the first. I'm not a big fan of still shots as far as action is concerned. I like fluid animation, but I feel like this one is a little bit more smoother versus the first season. So I would highly recommend Record of Ragnarok. Now on to the superhero side of things, right? So according to reports, especially with Zachary Levi, you know, Shazam! Fury of the Gods definitely came out on this past Friday. I went to go see it. You know what? Before I even jump into this whole Dwayne Johnson Shazam situation, non-spoiler assessment on Shazam 2 Fury of the Gods. It actually was okay. It wasn't a bad movie at all. It really wasn't a bad movie. It was a traditional superhero movie. Are you asking, is it better than WW84? Yeah. If you're asking, is it better than Batman vs. Superman? Yeah. If you're asking if it's better than a great majority of the DC movies that came out beforehand, yeah, it is. So it is a good movie. I mean, here's the thing between fan base and critics. I don't know why critics still have a job, okay? Because critics will say this movie is terrible, this movie is not worth watching, this is a waste of your money, yada, 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 yada. And I feel like that correlates over to the fan base, but the fan base have a difference of opinion when it comes to critics. I like, when you look at movie critics, they look through a movie with a fine-tooth comb, every nook and cranny of a movie, and they butcher it. I mean, they cut it open, see what's inside, sew it back up and say, here you go. But with the fan base, I feel like it has a difference of opinion. I feel like movie critics shouldn't even have a job. I mean, they serve no purpose. You're like, oh, this movie's terrible. But the only thing that really, really matters is the green. It's the money. How much money you made in the box office. And if it's a box office bomb. Like, for instance, Black Adam. Because that's going to lead into this other conversation we're going to have. Black Adam, to me, was actually a good movie. it was a good movie. I really did like it. I like the fact that there was other heroes in it, like Dr. Fate, Atom Smasher, Hawkman, just to name a few. And I like the fact that they got a little bit of a shine. Right? It was actually a decent movie. I like the fact that Henry Cavill, Superman, made a cameo at the end of the movie. Only to be for naught, because once James Gunn took over, he was like, yeah, Henry Cavill is no longer going to be in this new DCU vision that I have. As far as Black Adam is concerned, neither will that. So, let's get here for a second. As long as you have been advertising this movie, Black Adam, and I mean this dude, I think for over 8-10 years, I don't know, it feels that way, maybe longer. He always wanted to play Black Adam. I want to be Black Adam. Ever since this fan art, whatever the case, I want to be Black Adam. You do this movie. This movie was actually pretty decent. Only for someone to come behind you to say, we're not following your storyline, my guy. We're going to do DC Universe. You're really not included in this. By the way, Henry Cavill's not included in this. By the way, maybe you're not going to be involved in this at all. And this thing just over and done with. So it's just like you just did this one-off. It's just a complete waste of time. For a period, we was pissed off at James Gunn and Peter Safran for just cutting us off at the knees because we got so excited about Henry Cavill, because Henry Cavill to us is our Superman. I mean, he is a nerd in his own right, and he kind of like knows the lore. He can research the lore. He going to be true to the character. But James Gunn's vision is a little different. Like, he's planning on building a world that connects the video games, the animated movies, the live action movies, the series. Like, he's trying to make it all in one big universe. And then, of course, you got DC Elseworlds with the Joker and the Batman. So that's in a different universe. So that stays by itself. So he has some sort of vision. Well, actually, I can't say he has some sort of vision. He has a vision on where he wants his DC to go. No longer will there be another Zack Snyder Justice League, even though there's fans that's lobbying for Zack Snyder to have his own version of DC characters for Netflix. I don't think fan bases understand the legalities of that. I mean, how you gonna make that work though? Like, you think Zack Snyder just got time on his hands to just say, hey, I'm gonna just go ahead and further pursue Justice League 2 and 3. At least let me do these movies and do a Netflix adaptation of it. I mean, to be honest with you, Warner Brothers got to be extra generous to say, here, Zach, here are these characters. Do what you will with them. That's unrealistic. All I'm gonna say is, just be appreciative of the Zack Snyder's Justice League, because I do find myself sometimes going back to watch it, because to me, that was a masterful superhero movie. It really was, to me. Is it the greatest superhero movie ever? No, I'm not saying that, but I'm gonna definitely say it is a masterful DC movie. I mean, it was 4 hours of cinematic goodness, and I feel like we've been cheated for years. We've been cheated for some years when it came down to this Justice League. I'm like, man, if this Justice League came out, man, just shed some light on Cyborg and maybe have Green Lantern, and you could tie all that stuff together. And Zack Snyder is a storyteller. I mean, you look at what he did with Army of the Dead and Army of Thieves. Like, he is a big storyteller. He's very big on story. Like with Army of the Dead that was on Netflix, it wasn't your run-of-the-mill zombie movie. It was a storytelling of epic proportions, and it explains a lot of things that's been going on in that movie, right? To the point where I really, really enjoyed it. Like, this is probably my favorite zombie movie of all. It wasn't just somebody ate something bad, the virus spread, it's post-apocalyptic world. It's been done over and over and over and over again. Whereas in Army of the Dead, you got just one particular section that is quarantined and everybody else living their everyday lives, and they plan on nuking the place. Oh, by the way, you got to go in Vegas. You got to do this heist while fighting these said zombies, and they got alphas and they got classes of zombies, and there's a zombie tiger right here running around. Come to find out it's a military experiment, and there's going to be a sequel, and there's a prequel there. There's a lot of world building that's going on with Zack Snyder stuff. Let him stay where he's at. Let him tell that story. As much as it pains me to say that, because I don't take pleasure in saying that, okay? As much as it pains me to say that, go ahead and let him focus on the Army of the Dead stuff. Just focus on that. Zack Snyder is doing a phenomenal job with Army of Thieves and Army of the Dead. I'ma just have to say to the fan base of the Snyderverse, you gotta chill. Chill just a little bit, okay? There's no way in God's green earth there's gonna be a Zack Snyder's Justice League sequel on Netflix where Warner Brothers gonna freely give out these DC characters for Zack Snyder to play with. It's no way. Absolutely no way. Hey, for the new listeners here in the live chat, go ahead and give me a comment. Give me a comment, ask some questions. Go ahead and like and subscribe to the channel. Go ahead and spread the word to the Orange Phoenix Show, because once a week we will be doing these live shows called Nerd Talk. We're definitely going to be talking about all the nerd isms, all the nerd news, at least the majority of the nerd news, and we can sit here and discuss as far as what exactly is going on. Now, as far as Zachary Levi, Shazam was actually a good movie. It had 2 post-credit scenes. If you haven't seen the movie, I'm not going to spoil it for you, but there were 2 post-credit scenes. Now, it's been said that Zachary Levi has responded to that report about Dwayne Johnson blocking. So the future for both characters at DC is looking dire. Now, with Black Adam, according to Screen Rant, staying behind amid old DC management woes, and Shazam Fury of the Gods heavily underperforming at the box office. And I think I know the reason why it underperformed, because they feel like it's a moot point for Shazam to even be a movie. They feel like it's a moot point because James Gunn is going to wipe it all clean anyway. Why I need to watch this movie? I feel like they treated Shazam Fury of the Gods like they treated X-Men Dark Phoenix. The minute that we found out that Disney bought out the rest of the rights for X-Men and everything else, why be watching Dark Phoenix for? And even we heard rumors circling around that the actors that was in Dark Phoenix, they even dialed it back a little bit. They phoned it in a little bit. It's like, that movie was terrible. It's terrible. Like, it's like, why we need to put our best foot forward for a movie that's not going to go forward in anything else? And the actors in Shazam didn't treat it that way. They actually treated it as a good movie. Shazam Fury of the Gods was better than the first movie to me. It's one of the better DC movies. I don't understand why it underperformed. Well, I do understand why it underperformed, and maybe the reason is they treated it like there's nothing going to come up out of this. Why are we wasting our time? Why are we doing this? Why are we doing this? So now, as far as Dwayne Johnson, this situation goes, on Instagram, there was a response for the rap saying that, well, he confirmed that, hey, I was blocked. It says, confirms that Shazam Fury of the Gods, the Justice Society from Black Adam, were recruiting Shazam in the post credits. Sorry, spoilers. The Rock denied access, and David F. Sandberg had to make it a last-minute decision to add Emilia and John. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson attempted to restructure the DCEU, centering him and Henry Cavill's Superman. The Rock didn't allow Zachary Levi to cameo in a post-credit for Black Adam. Now, he confirms it, saying the truth shall set you free. Now, Johnson vetoed an appearance by Levi as Shazam in Black Adam, as well as blocked characters from the Justice Society appearing in Shazam, Fury of the Gods, to recruit the hero. The role eventually went to characters from James Gunn, Peacemaker. Now, it is no secret that the old DC management accumulated a number of controversies over the years, according to Screen Rant, and the latest Shazam drama just proves how much DC needed to change. Now, while the demand for Snyderverse movies does not stop from part of the DC fandom, There is a great promise of a new era set to begin. Gunn and Peter Safran have become the chiefs of new DC Universe and have constructed an 8 to 10 year plan alongside some of the best superhero writers in the business. Now, I'm going to just be honest with you. Dwayne "Rock" Johnson, I don't have any issues with him. He is like one of the most prolific professional wrestlers in history. I mean, he is the most electrifying man in sports entertainment. Then he branched off. He did Doom, which was a terrible movie. He did The Mummy Returns, which I feel like that was his breakout, honestly. Then he did The Scorpion King, which actually was a pretty decent movie. And then, you know, there was some hit or misses here and there, but quickly he became one of the highest paid, if actually the highest paid actor in Hollywood at one point in time. He was part of the Fast and Furious franchise, which was actually a pretty dope deal. Then there was some strong rumors and come out to be truths that him and Vin Diesel wasn't really getting along. Never really dived too much into that drama between them two. I just know there was a spinoff with Jason Statham, and I haven't seen him in a Fast and Furious movie since, which is odd. You know, it's odd. I mean, like, when you got all this world catastrophic stuff that's going on, you mean to tell me Hobbs is not involved in this, but Shaw is? Like, Shaw is involved in this. Him and his brother's involved in this, but it's weird. It's a weird situation. So, never dive too much into it. And then you get this news about Black Adam, which again, I will say it was not a bad movie. I will actually go back and rewatch it. If you ask me, is it better than WW 84? Yes, it is. Is it better than Batman vs. Superman? Yes, it is. Is it better than most of the DC movies out there? Yes, it is. There you go. Point blank, period. Black Adam was not a bad movie. So, with Henry Cavill appearance, I really did like that. I damn near stood up in the movie theater. I'm like, oh man, we are back on track for DC because DC has such rich stories in it. I mean, honestly and truly, under the right regime, DC can literally rival anything Marvel can throw. Anything Marvel can throw. So many characters in there, so many rich characters in there. Whether you like a major character, whether you're a small character, and James Gunn do have a knack for highlighting some of the lesser known characters and making them famous, i.e. Guardians of the Galaxy. Because let's be frank, there's not a lot of people knew about Guardians of the Galaxy before it was on TV, before it was on the big screen. I mean, to be 100% honest, nobody really didn't know. You had your main franchises. You had X-Men, you had Spider-Man, you had Blade. Blade wasn't really a main guy, but you get what I'm saying. Avengers, Captain America, all that stuff. So, looking at that particular situation with The Rock, according to the rap, if this is indeed true, bro, you fucking up the church's money, all right? Come on, man. How are you Black Adam? And one of your key elements of Black Adam is Captain Marvel. Shazam is him. Like, I looked at that movie, enjoyed the movie. Again, I enjoyed the movie. I see Henry Cavill, got no issues with that whatsoever. But also in my mind, in the back of my head, I'm thinking, are they going to mention Shazam? Are they going to mention him? Are they going to mention how Shazam saved his city? Like, will there be a tease about Shazam? Because when you think of Black Adam, you think of Shazam. Hell, you got the same outfit. Only difference is his is black, and Zachary Levi's character of Shazam is red. That's the only difference. Hell, you get your power saying the same dang word. Like, so you block a cameo appearance for Shazam? And you block the Justice Society from showing up on the Shazam movie? Like, you didn't want nothing to do with Shazam whatsoever. Like, come on, man. Like, you serious right now? Are you serious right now? It's like, you know, you're going to play yourself. And I think he played himself in that sense. And that makes me go back to the Fast and the Furious times where maybe the story about him being egotistical and the contract signing where he doesn't lose in a major fight and like ever, he doesn't go down, he doesn't look bad, he don't get beat up like that. That's just in his contract. Listen, let's take you back. Let's take you back to the 80s, 90s action stars. Arnold Schwarzenegger in Predator got ransacked by the Predator. He came out as the victor, but he lost everybody around him. He's beaten up. He's bloodied. He got all this stuff. Sylvester Stallone, Clubber Lang, knocked his ass out in the middle of the movie. Knocked his ass out. Middle of the movie. Sylvester Stallone, knocked out. Bruce Willis has gotten beaten up. Matter of fact, Sylvester Stallone in the Expendables got beat up by Steve Austin's character. He even said it. I got my ass kicked. So all these action stars, but here's the thing. Did they lose credibility by taking those L's in their own movies? No, they did not. Why? Because when the Expendables came out and you had all those 80s and 90s action stars in there, along with the current stars. Now, mind you, Expendables 2 is my favorite out of the trilogy. I'm going to just be 100% honest. I really do like Expendables 2, mainly because Jean-Claude Van Damme in it. Matter of fact, while I'm on the subject, Jean-Claude Van Damme. I mean, I just seen Death Warrant where he was in prison. This man got jumped. This man got stripped butt naked and put in solitary confinement. I mean, this man been beat up. Did it tarnish his legacy as one of the best martial artists out there in the 80s and 90s? No, it did not. It didn't do it. It didn't happen. So you got Jean-Claude Van Damme, you got Sylvester Stallone, Bruce Willis, and you got Arnold Schwarzenegger, all of which has taken the L at some point in their movies. At some point they've been down and out. At some point. I was like, if all this is true, how big your ego has to be for you to have in your contract to say, I'm never going to take a loss in any of the movies I'm in. You know how boring that is in the movies that you do? It's like you're doing the same shit every time, but it's a different title on the marquee. Like, it's crazy. Like, come on, man. I mean, you got to have some kind of range. You know what I'm saying? If you want to solidify yourself or you want to keep having yourself as the biggest, best actor in Hollywood or the best action star in Hollywood, you got to take some L's in some of these movies. Otherwise, how can we be invested? Because we already know every fight you're going to be in, my man, you're going to win that fight. There's nobody out there that can beat you. Like, I feel like at some point you got to meet your match in the movie. Otherwise, it's going to be a boring ass movie. Like, I'm very curious how he was going to work that out with Henry Cavill's Superman. Like, so you're going to have yourself beat Superman? Because even though Superman weak against magic, even though there's a little bit of a weakness there, that's not enough to put Superman on his knees. You know what I'm saying? That for Zack Snyder's Superman, that's not enough right there. Like, unless, now someone put up a valid point in our Geek Corner on Facebook that maybe Shazam was going to show up later. Maybe Superman is going to reveal that Superman is weak to both kryptonite and magic, and it takes Shazam to actually come help Superman beat Black Adam. But if he got it in his contract, if this is true, if he got it in his contract that he don't take L's, how are you going to make this work? Are you going to end it in a draw and then have like a mutual enemy that you fight or whatever? Because Black Adam do become somewhat of an anti-hero in the comics. So there's that, right? But you got two franchises here. You got the Fast franchise, which, you know, I have no clue if he's gonna be in this franchise anymore. Then you got Black Adam, which is torpedoed. It's done. It's done. I mean, ever since this whole thing with James Gunn and like canceling everything out, people has been shitting on Black Adam. They were like, it's underperformed. It didn't make no movie. You know, it didn't make no money and all this other stuff. So matter of fact, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hit the Googles, right? I'm gonna go on Google and I'm gonna check and see what was the box office numbers for Black Adam. What was the budget and what was the number? What was the numbers? Like, I gotta know, because I feel like people are really torpedo. Okay, so here where I am. The budget ranged between 190 million and 260 million dollars. That was the budget. The box office was 393 million. Now, I think maybe they were looking for bigger numbers, and that's where they were with it. And they were not set, and that's what I mean by they underperformed. That's how I'm looking at those numbers. Obviously, they made their budget and they made a little extra money on top of that. All right. But as far as what they really want to do with it, if that wasn't their goal, if their goal was like make $1 billion, then yeah, they shortchanged it by a lot. And maybe The Rock actually overshot it. Maybe that's what it is. But $393 million in the box office with a, and let me look at that. Let me look at those numbers again. 190 million to 260 million, and you made a box office of 393 million. That's not bad. That's not bad at all. But if you had a certain goal where you want to make more, then I can fully understand why it went this way. And now, I mean, they made it sound like this man made no money. They didn't even make their quota. They didn't even make the numbers for budget. That's how fans made it sound like, man, this movie was just straight up dumpster juice. This thing was trash. Now, Shazam! Fury of the Gods. I'm gonna just tell you right now. The budget was 110 to 125 million dollars. The box office currently, as it stands, is $68.8 million. When I say it underperformed, it underperformed. And that is the numbers for Shazam! Fury of the Gods. Those are the numbers as it stands right now. And I am the only conclusion I can draw out of that is that in the fan base's mind, why should I go watch this movie and it's going to get wiped clean anyway? So that's probably why it got torpedoed. And hopefully with the Flash movie. Now we got a new episode that's going to get released tomorrow, right? Got a new episode getting released tomorrow. And according to my guest source, he caught a screening of The Flash, and he did say, you know, just by his opinion alone, that was the greatest superhero movie he ever seen in his life. I'm going to just be honest with you. I saw that trailer for The Flash, and I geeked all the way to piss out. Like, all the way to piss out. The moment I saw Michael Keaton's Batman on The Flash, I geeked out. Because Michael Keaton's Batman and Supergirl is going to make this Flash movie. I don't even think it's the Flash. I think it's just the people that's in it that's going to make this one of the best superhero stories ever told. I feel like that's what's going to happen. Now, I have been disappointed in the past, but from sources that have seen some of the screening, I'm like, this movie's a gem. This movie's a gem. I don't think the fan base really give a crap about what the Flash's character is. I think they're just hyped because of Michael Keaton, like I am, because it's been so long since we've seen Michael Keaton on the screen in the Batman uniform. I'm gonna be 100% honest with you. I do not care if Michael Keaton's Batman is the DCU's Batman. Don't care. A boy Carlton Smith says, so did Black Adam underperform or was the DCU mostly mismanaged up to this point? I think, actually, I feel like it's a little bit of both. It's a little bit of both. I think that with Dwayne Johnson and that team, they had a vision on how much money they was going to make. And they didn't meet that goal. And from that standpoint, it underperformed. But if your budget is 100 to 200 million and you made 393 million, you passed the budget. So you did good in that sense. But as far as DCEU, yes, that shit is mismanaged like a mofo. Like we both know this. Like it's okay, Batman versus Superman. Let's start with that. Batman versus Superman. I went to the movie theaters to go see that. I damn near fell asleep. I am ashamed to say that. I damn near fell asleep like maybe more than halfway through the movie. And before I go, he said, I'm looking forward to Michael Keaton as Batman 2. But it's the first DC movie I've looked forward to in a hot minute. And that's a lot of people's thing. That is a lot of people's deal. Is because the DC animated movies is like chef kiss. Chef kiss. It's like, it's a masterpiece. Masterful work for the DC animated universe. And Michael Keaton is the gold standard for Batman. I mean, he is our Batman. He's a lot of people's Batman. He is the Batman. I mean, the way Gotham was depicted in Tim Burton's Batman, it was like, it's crazy. I am completely okay with Michael Keaton being Batman going forward. I am completely okay with that. I got no problems with that whatsoever. We got today's technology to make Batman look good. Just go ahead and make it happen. But DCEU definitely been mismanaged heavily. What's so funny about it, with now going back to Batman versus Superman, damn near fell asleep in the movie, but the Ultimate Edition dropped, right? So I watched the Ultimate Edition, and I was like, oh, this is what's going on. It explained a lot more things that was going on. I'm like, why didn't it just film that? Why didn't it just put that in the movie theater and let us enjoy that? Because now it explains a lot more. There's little nuances, there little details, the little nitnoy things that you can put the pieces together and like, oh, okay, this is now an okay movie. It ain't the greatest movie ever, but it's an okay movie. WW84, terrible ass movie. Terrible ass DC movie. Okay? I know it came out during the pandemic. I know they was pushing stuff out, but that movie was awful. Like, bad. It's like whoever made Wonder Woman, that the first Wonder Woman, they did a phenomenal job with. And they must have just took the whole team out and just replaced it with a whole nother team and just say, hey, here you go. And here's WW84. It's going to kill it in the box office. It did not. Yes, it came out during the pandemic. I feel like if it came out post-pandemic, still would have been terrible. WW84 is not good at all. Zack Snyder's Justice League. Again, I say that is masterful work. That other Justice League movie that just simply titled Justice League, I implore you, never ever watch that movie. Don't do that. Don't do that to yourself. That's just bad. James Gunn's The Suicide Squad. Good stuff. Very good stuff. Peacemaker. Very good stuff. I really want to see the Ayer cut of Suicide Squad. And we're never going to get it. So just wipe your hands with that. But I keep hearing that this Flash movie is like one of, if not the greatest superhero movie that will be out. So I am very anxious to see that. Now on the Marvel side, I'm very anxious to see Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. I'm a little hesitant on watching it, mainly because I feel like somebody's gonna die and somebody major gonna die, and it's gonna hit me in the feels. I'm gonna have to shed a thug tear when I see Volume 3, because this is James Gunn's last hurrah with Marvel before he is fully invested in DCU. And I have heard rumors that Shazam, Aquaman movie that comes out, and Flash are all mixed together to some capacity. Only time will tell. Even though James Gunn released a slate of movies that he's got going on, even he is acknowledging the fact that the Joker 2 and the Batman 2 is in a different universe called Elseworlds, which is basically a comic book storyline for DC. I like that little spin he has on that. So I'm anxious. I hope James Gunn get rid of all the DC stuff that's on CW Network. I'm gonna tell you, I know there's some good DC shows on CW, but come on, man. Gotham Knights, trash. Batwoman, trash. Green Arrow, Arrow was actually pretty dang good. It actually was decent. But, it's over and done with that. Like, just do away with the CW stuff, man. It's cookie cutter. It's like, it feels like it's the same production. And it don't have that edgy feel. Doom Patrol obviously is on its way of getting canceled, but it will have a fitting ending to it, as well as Titans. I feel like Titans grew on me a lot. Doom Patrol definitely grew on me. Pretty decent HBO Max shows. I will say that. Pretty decent shows. Now, going on to the next topic here, we got Power Rangers. Now, the trailer was released over the past 24, 48 hours. And we might have a little explanation on how they're going to handle the whole Trini situation, because the Yellow Ranger, unfortunately, she passed away a few years ago due to an accident. So, according to the trailer, according to Screen Rant, it confirms what happened to Trini. The original Yellow Ranger, Tui Trang, who played Trini in Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, passed away in 2001 after a tragic car accident. Now, as the first Mighty Morphin related Power Rangers content for TV since the original show, Once and Always has a chance to pay homage to Trang and her iconic Power Rangers character. One of the 5 teenagers with attitude picked by Zordon to become Power Rangers, Trini Kwan, remained on the main team until Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Season 2 Power Transfer. Trini, Zach, and Jason left the team for a peace conference following their respective actors' exits from the series. Now, an event that the Power Rangers comics would retcon decades later, Power Rangers had never revealed whether Trang's character Trini had died in the universe. Now, according to Once and Always trailer reviews, that Rita Repulsa, who has somehow returned as a Power Rangers villain, despite having previously turned good, will kill Trini. Following Trang's tragic passing in 2001, no Power Rangers TV show ever revisited Trini as a character, leaving the fate of the original Yellow Ranger open. Now, the Boom Power Rangers comics expanded on what happened to Trini after the character exited Zordon's Power Rangers team, revealing that she, Zach, and Jason became the Omega Rangers. Still, those Power Rangers comics were all set in the Mighty Morphin era. So that kind of answers the question. Well, actually, that don't kind of answer the question. That does answer the question. What goes on with the Yellow Ranger? Now, if you're looking for Jason David Frank to be in Power Rangers Once and Always, he's not going to be in that movie. However, the Green Ranger will be in the movie. So maybe the Green Ranger don't take his helmet off, and maybe it's like kind of like a flashback episode, that type of thing. Not episode. Maybe like it starts out as a flashback, and you fast forward years later, and you see Trini's daughter, and he's like, oh, yeah, she killed my mom. We got to take her out. Blah 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 blah. So you got to keep that in mind. But I am anxiously waiting for Power Rangers Once and Always. It does pay homage to our childhood. It pay homage to a lot of people growing up. If you have not read the Power Rangers comics, you got to read those comics. Boom Comics Power Rangers is top notch. I feel like to make a successful Power Rangers movie, just get it straight out the comic book. I mean, it has tons and tons and tons of lore and storyline, and you could do everything you want and more with those Power Rangers comic books. Like those Boom comics is something. Like, for instance, we watched the original Power Rangers where the Green Ranger first showed up. Little did I know the offer to be the Green Ranger was given to Zach first, and that was in the comics. Zach declined, and then they found Tommy. Tommy ended up as the Green Ranger. Now, once Tommy, overcame the whole Rita's spell or whatever, he goes through some sort of episode where he sees Rita in images, where Rita's like, the Power Rangers want to accept you. You done so much damage to Angel Grove. You done this and this and this and this and this. And that leads to dissension between him and the Power Rangers, specifically him and Jason. And Jason is still the leader at this point in time, but he's not so much as getting along with Tommy. Kimberly is in love with Tommy as per the, in the TV show, but in the comics, it's a little bit more deeper. It's a little bit more edgier. Like Zach and Jason are real tight. Billy having self-doubt within himself, like he's not a world-renowned martial artist, and Trini is trying to reassure him like not everybody needs to have martial arts know-how to be a Power Rangers. Like, your brain has saved us from a many of dangers, which is true, because in the comics, everybody brings something to the table as the Rangers. Billy figures a lot of this shit out. If the Rangers ain't have an issue, if it wasn't for Billy, I feel like the Rangers would be nothing. I mean, at that point. I mean, you can't just go in there with guns blazing, lasers, get the Megazord, handle your situation. You can't do all that all the time. You need somebody smart, and Billy is that person. But Billy is in his own mind, per the comics, because he's not like Jason. He's not like Zach. He's not like everybody else. And that's the comic books. You could dive deep into that stuff. You could do that. So I feel like if you want to do a movie or a series of movies and you want to create a Rangers universe, those comic books is your source material. That is your source material. You don't have to deviate from that. It's our main complaint with DC, with the DC EU. It's like, how you don't use the writers from the DC animated universe to come up with stories for the live action stuff. Like, how you don't do that? Like, how you don't figure that out? So even with the new Power Rangers movie, right? The new Power Rangers movie wasn't that bad until you got this trash Goldar out here. I was like, this is the best y'all could do. And thank you. Pay Amy Jo Johnson. Why couldn't y'all pay that woman? Why couldn't y'all pay her? I don't understand. And it like, cause people jumping on her like in the beginning, like, oh, why you didn't do the movie? You too big and da 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 da. Like, no, they offered me this. I didn't like it, but I was still willing to come if they, properly compensated me, and they couldn't meet it, or they didn't meet it. And like they wouldn't, they couldn't, they wouldn't. And it's like, well, I had to step away because the offer that was given to me wasn't satisfying to me. That's just business. Like, how hard is it to pay the Pink Ranger? She's one of the iconic originals. Why can't you pay that woman? I don't understand that. It's like, it ain't rocket science. Like, are your budget that tight that you couldn't pay? Maybe you overpaid somewhere else on the back end. Maybe you did that. But I mean, she do wish the film the best, because the people that's in the film is her friends at the end of the day. But why couldn't you just pay that woman? Why couldn't you do that? Easy. That's just such an easy thing to do. You got a budget. You got your originals. You got Zach. You got Billy. You could have had Amy Jo Johnson as the Paint Ranger. But no, she got her other projects. You're like, yeah, I appreciate the concern, but this is what's going on. This is the business. For the fans, you have to understand the business side of things. If you are an actor, even though you are beloved as this character, you are well known for this character, and you are doing like a reunion type of show, there's certain things that has to be covered, like money, You got to pay me properly. If I'm that actor, you got to pay me as such. If you are not paying me as such, that's a slap in the face to me on what I brought to the table to this franchise. So, and then, you know, some people are still on that back end like, well, she's being selfish and all that other stuff. No, she's not being selfish. I don't think she's being selfish at all. I mean, it's the business. I mean, you don't want to be underpaid for any stretch of imagination. Like, ain't no way you want to be paid. Underpaid. I'm sorry. I'm like, come on now. It's just, it's a loss. That's an L. I mean, once and always have to take an L. But I think Power Rangers Once and Always will be number one on Netflix for maybe a couple weeks. But we'll see. I am excited. It's going to hit me in the childhood. Now, here's a little bit of X-Men news for X-Men the Animated Series. X-Men 97, before we jump off our live for the day. X-Men 97, big bad villain, is rumored to be Mr. Sinister. Just to let you know. X-Men 97 will come out later on this summer. I will go back to watch X-Men the Animated Series to cover every nook and cranny and everything possible that of X-Men the Animated Series to get myself ready for X-Men 97. Because I do specifically remember that Charles Xavier went off with the Shi'ar Empire and left Magneto and the X-Men there looking at him going off into space. Now, from what I understand from the story, is that Magneto will be somewhat of a leader of this X-Men team, and Wolverine, Cyclops, Storm is trying to keep everything together as far as the X-Men is concerned because Xavier is no longer there. So it's going to be an interesting dynamic that Magneto will be the leader of the X-Men, even though he once was in the comics. So it's gonna be an interesting dynamic. X-Men 97 is definitely gonna be a gem. So I'm definitely gonna go back, rewatch X-Men the Animated Series, and come back to you. With the show that's coming out tomorrow between myself and Travis Martin, we play this game called This or That, and one of the This or That question is X-Men the Animated Series or Batman the Animated Series. This or that. I'll just leave you with that. I'm not even going to answer it for you. I appreciate you guys hanging out for our this week's edition, live edition of Orange Phoenix Show Nerd Talk. We will be back next week, but be on the lookout for our previously recorded show with Travis Martin tomorrow. Will be released tomorrow morning or the afternoon, and I hope you guys enjoy that. And also, if you want to look at our previous shows, go to our playlist, Orange Phoenix Show per podcast, and check out all our previous shows from there. We are on our way. Just go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button if you like our show, and we will see you guys